Hello, everybody. I'm going to give it a little few minutes. If you're just tuning in on YouTube, we're doing a live broadcast on Facebook, and I tape it at the end of the session, and I put it up onto YouTube. So if you miss it, it will be up on YouTube. Let's give it a couple minutes yet, and see where we're going to go from here. All right, here, everybody's popping in. That's good. Okay. All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining me again today at the Carver's Woodshop. This is Tuesday night at 7:30. We've been doing this pretty well. Hello, Jack and Jenny, and hello, Debbie. Debbie, by the way, your stuff went out this morning. I'll text you all that stuff later. Anyway, we're going to do the elephant today. A lot of you love this elephant. So we did the giraffe. We did the little owl last week. So we're going to start on the giraffe. Now, for a time of hello in Oregon. Hi, Ruthie. For the time of, for the sake of time, I drew some of this on here so we can get started on it right away. So this is what he looks like. All right. I don't know if my lighting's exactly right here. Let me see if I can move something over here a little bit. Oh, I hope that battery lasts, because if it doesn't, I'm going to be in trouble. Okay, so we're going to get started right now. So get a knife. The size block that you'll need is 2.5 2.5 by 1.5 by 1.5. All right, so let's see. What knife shall I choose? All right. And yes, and I have my hot chocolate today. So let me move this cord out of the way a little bit. It's in my way. There we go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to draw your pattern of the head. So what it is, it's just like an upside down pumpkin in a way, kind of skinny. All right, some of them, I've done this before and it's a little different, but because I have to put it in this block size. So, hello, Ohio. Anyway, so this is all that you want to do is make this like little oval shape, and then you want to draw where his long nose goes, okay? And then on each side of the head, you're going to just make a little bit of it's going to come down a little bit. And then the same thing down here, you're going to loop it so his ears are kind of big on the bottom. All right, just like that. So once you get that done, then you put the feet in. And these feet on the bottom, you can see the front feet are behind. And this will work out just fine. So everything fits in there, and then the back side isn't a whole lot to the back side, but it's more of shaping his butt and his head and his ears. All right, so let's get started here. So once you get that all done, the first thing I do, I take my V-tool, and I know many of you have a V-tool now. If you don't, you can cut it with a knife, but it's easier with a V-tool. So I'm going to follow the outside of this a little bit, and on both sides. So let's start with that. So I'm going to follow this out. All right, and the same thing over here. I'm going to follow this out. I came up with this design. I have about 3 more. I'm looking at them. I have 4 more projects ready to go. I just have to paint them, and I'm not going to show them until I paint them, because I want to see I want to see how they turn out. So the ones I have is a hippopotamus, a lion, a zebra, and Noah. So I have 4 more projects, and the dove, 5. So I will have sets ready probably by the end or the beginning of next week, because I think I'm coming to the point where it's done. So I'm going to do both sides of this, you know, just kind of work it down. All right, that's the first thing you want to do. Now his ears, the next thing you want to do is take your knife, and right here, I've got to redraw this because I try to do it quickly. I'm a last minute person, you know, I don't design these out days ahead of time. It's like an hour before. I just didn't know in the last hour. So I want to paint him up and see how it goes. If you have any questions, I'll see if I can catch the questions as you ask them. All right, so the next thing we're going to do right here, we're going to just cut in right where the bottom part of his ear is, right there, okay, on both sides. All right, and then up here, we're gonna bring this down some more because we're not anywhere near where it should be. So we're gonna follow this exactly as you see it. All right, exactly how you see it. It's parallel with the corner. Your knife should not be this way when you're cutting, because you're cutting the side of the face out. You'll hack it out, just like when you do the noses. It's the same way. So you just want to make sure your knife is parallel with that corner. All right, and we're going to go all the way down. We're going to bring this down here, and we're going to just take our knife and we're going to slice this out. Don't worry about that line. We'll put that back on. All right. And you're going to do both sides like that. I'm going to take my time tonight because my second pieces, when I do them online, they're not as nice as the first because I take my time with it. So if it's a little longer, forgive me. I want these pieces to match a little bit, but I try to hurry all the time. Hello, Jim and Beth. All right. So the next thing, I'm going to just start chopping that off at the top. And we're going to take this off on the side. And I went kind of deep, so. And you don't want to dig into the tusk or the, you don't want to dig into the face or anything down here, all right? So this should be a little flatter. It should be a little bit flatter. All right. So that's how we start. Now, this has a ways to go, you can see. All right, so the first thing I start doing is I start rounding off the back of the head. That helps me determine how deep things will go, okay? And the same thing back here, we're going to have to figure out exactly where the ear comes at the top. So the ear actually connects straight across. So we're going to just go straight across here, just like so, on both sides. All right, now that's going to make it look a little small, but it'll round out after we get it done here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to bring this down at an angle, okay? The angle of the head here. We're not going to go straight in. We're going to go take it at an angle, like so. And then you're going to chop that out. Just like so, all right? Same thing over here. You're going to take this at an angle. Whatever this head's at, that's exactly how you're going to do it. All right, you can do each corner first if you want. That's fine, but I find it easier sometimes to cut it straight across. Now his head looks a little thin at the top, and this one did too when I started, so it will pan out a little further. So let's just take that a little further over, and same thing with this one. We're just gonna bring it down. So this is going to be rounded off. We're going to take all this rough stuff and we're going to start chopping this back a little bit. All right, we're going to go straight across. There we go. We're going to take that rough stuff off. That's got to go. All right, now on the back side, gotta have to figure where his body and the ear is going to come up. So actually, Let me take a look at something here, folks. All right. His feet are going to be a lot bigger on this here. We're going to try to bring this up a little further. All right. Because he has big feet. So, all right. So, we're just going to go in here and cut that right above the foot and underneath that ear. Okay. Now we kind of know where we're going to go here, and I'm going to put it better. I was hurrying up with it earlier, so we're going to just kind of bring this out and around, and a little bit wider down here, a little smaller up there. Okay. And same thing over here. You know, you got to make the lines kind of like I do. That's not a problem. But just take a look at it, make sure they're even. And sometimes I measure with my finger on both sides. Yeah, that works. So I'm going to take my little V tool and I'm going to bring this down. Give me a good guide line here to go by. All right, you can see that ear is starting to come out. And I'm going to bring this right up to the front. Just like so. See? And the same thing over here. I'm going to take it right to the front. All right. Now this is going to be cut off a little bit, but now we have a really good idea where things belong here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring the ears back quite a ways yet. So the first thing we can also do is start rounding them from the back. I'm going to cut it straight in, just like we talked about before. You're not going to go this way. You're going to follow it with parallel to the corner. And you're just going to go in and you're going to cut that out. We're going to cut that out one more time here. All right. And you're going to do both sides. I didn't work on Noah's Ark yet. I did a Noah's Ark a long time ago. And I will tell you that it's not... You can use my old pattern if you want. I have a couple ideas for that if you want. If you want to use that old pattern, you can. But you're going to need a 2-inch thick block by 6 or 7 inches wide. It's going to take a good chunk of wood to do that. My other idea is going to be more practical. And you can set it on a table, or you'll be able to put it on a wall. And I'll explain that later. So now we've got this taken care of on the back. We're going to start scooping this out a little bit in the front. So we're just getting an idea how thick the head's going to be. You see, we're almost to a point where the head, see how rounded that is and how thick it is around? That's kind of where I'm at right now with this. So I don't want to go too much further in with the head. I'm just going to add a little bit more. I'm going to take this out a little bit more as well. And just bring this back. All right. So now we're going to keep going with the ears here. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit more and scoop this out. More of a scoop out. Scooping it out. There you go. So now you're going to start getting a little bit of a shape on it. Some of you have asked about when I'm going to have all the cutouts ready. They're going to be different sizes of stuff. The dove I did 2 different ways. I'm not sure which one I like better, so I'm going to have to fuss with that a little bit to figure out which one really fits well with the set. But, you know, none of these are proportioned correctly. Like the you know, the giraffe isn't proportioned right either. So it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to just scoop this out. All right. So now back here, we're going to bring this back a little bit. So we're going to cut this corner. All right, we're going to cut it. And we're going to just bring it back a little bit, just like so. All right. We'll figure out that scoop part in a minute here, but we need to bring this back a little bit on both sides. So just a matter of cutting it. Okay, so let me see how we have that. That's pretty well up to an angle, so we're going to just bring this back a little bit. All right, this is going to be rounded a little bit up in the top. And that's going to be rounded a little bit on this end. All right, so he's coming along. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start shaving this off a little bit more. To try to shape it a little bit. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit as well. And this is going to be cut out even more. So right here, where the ear and the body and the face meet, you're going to do a pretty big V cut in there, okay? And you're going to just pop that out. All right. Now if it doesn't come out clean, you go back and cut it. All right. So we're going to do both sides. So I think we'll have a few lessons here, a few more classes. I know summer's coming up and people are going to be wanting to be outside more. That's fine. I'll try to wrap this up in the next month or so. If I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more pieces, so that'd be 5 more weeks. And then 6 if I do the thing. I think that's all the animals I'm going to do. Is what I have right there. And if you want to add some more, you can always add the cow or the sheep that I did for the nativity set. Some folks are already buying the nativity set cutouts because they know they're going to take a while to do. I know it's kind of early talking about Christmas, but when you're doing carving, it's never too early. Never. So let's do the feet, and then we'll worry about the head and stuff later. So let's get the feet done. So we're going to bring this up and around, okay, like so. And we're going to just bring that. And I use my V tool again because I want nice big feet on him. Okay, let's bring that. Let me do that with the knife. Okay. And we're going to come down this way. Let me look at it back here and see. Yeah, they're pretty close. We'll round it up on the bottom a little bit. A little bit on, take that corner off a little bit as well. You want it more rounded, okay, folks? You don't want it like a U shape. You want it more rounded. All right, so right here we're going to cut this out. We're going to cut it out again with the knife. We're going to follow that V cut that we just did. And we're going to cut a little bit out. Take the tip of your knife and follow that all the way around, just like so. All right, I'm going to use a little knife with a point on it. Makes it a little easier to get in there. All right, and this is going to be cut out a little further as well. All right, it's a little tricky there in the corner, but you'll see how it works out. Okay, you see there's a little bit of a belly there, but okay. And we'll take this down and around again. I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. We're just going to scoop that out a little bit. There we go. A little bit more on this side as well. It's not deep enough there. All right, now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to clean this up a little bit more. And we're just going to go ahead and just take a little sliver off of there, just like so. Sometimes if you put a V-cut in places, it will make it look deeper than it truly is, and it makes it a little bit easier. All right, so that's really what you want to do. Now, how's the shape of the head? Well, it just comes back and goes up, and then it comes down, and then this gets scooped up a little bit here at the end. So I'm going to just do a little bit of a scoop right here. Hello, Missouri. And hello, Paula Ann. All right, so right here at the end of his thing here, we're going to do it at an angle, okay? Because we're going to clean out the inside there. So what you're going to do here is you're going to make this pop out a little bit more. And I have a very neat, I bought one of these aprons that catches all the chips that you can sit, has a hoop to it. Oh, well, thank you for joining us, Jeannie. I appreciate that. What this apron does, it catches everything, and I paid like almost $30 for it, but there is a way you can make it for like less than $10. So I need to see if I can come up with that plan. I saw it on YouTube, but I think it can be perfected a little bit more and a little more useful. So I will let you know when I have that ready to show you. But it's really nice and handy to be able to sit in a chair on a deck and not have it going everywhere or in the house. So, you know, we always come up with something new and different. Let me take a look how much more we have to do to the foot. Not a whole lot. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do here is I'm going to start rounding off up here a little bit more and bringing that in. So we're rounding it to the front, okay? We're rounding this to the front. See, it's rounded right here. You can see it's a little bit rounded. That's what we want to do. We just want to take this down and just kind of, let's see how I had the, okay, and this goes out more towards the front. So we're going to undercut a little bit there. And we're just going to trim this off. All right, so there's our edge right there. You can see it's coming. And we're going to bring this back just a tiny bit more to make those two match. Perfect. That's what we wanted. All right, we're going to do the other side the same way. We're going to dig this in a little bit. And, hey, Justin, are you here with us tonight? I don't see you, unless I missed you. So we're just going to trim that down. And see where the head is now. We can round this up and blend this in. So now my other elephant's a little different than this one, but it's not bad. I mean, it's shaped a little more differently, and it was a bigger block, so you had more room to do things. So I had to think about the size. This is the ornament size that I do a lot of things from, a lot of projects from. So we're going to clean this out. All right, just like so. And once this COVID mess is over, I'll start teaching again here at the farm, in my studio across the street here. Where right now, I think this is a nice way of doing it, and I get more people from all over seeing what we do. If you've enjoyed this and you want it to continue over the summer, give me your feedback on that. You know, we can stop for a while and start again late August or whatever, but I like to get some once we're done with this project, I'd like to get some Santas ready to do as well. So now this looks really thick, and it's supposed to. It's not supposed to be completely thinned out. I purposely did that for the sake of time, and I think it looked nice. So I just decided to leave it that way. Now, so if you can give me some feedback, you know, if you still want this to continue after, for a while in the summer, we can do that. Some people are going to travel, some people are not going to travel, but it all depends how soon things open up. I'm waiting for Canada to open up, I'm telling you. I'm waiting. So here, there's a little bit, when I look at this, I did a little bit of a trim right here. A little bit of a curvature. So I'm going to just take this down a little bit, like this. And then we're going to just blend those two corners in. You know, just bring this back and just scoop this out a little bit. We're just scooping this out. That's all we're doing, to give it a little bit of shape. Okay. Well, you can, if you're going to give me your opinion on that, you can do it through Messenger if you want. That would help me, and that would give me an idea what to do for the summer. Because actually, once it starts getting a little warmer, I'm going to be working outside around the farm more. So my time might be limited for a while until, you know, the lawn starts getting mowed on a regular basis and that kind of thing, and the fields and stuff. So and there's definitely some things I have to fix around here. I'm waiting for Jack to come down and help me, but not yet. I'm kidding, Jack. But anyway. Alright, so that's pretty well the top of the head. I'm going to blend this in a little more. And we're going to do the other side. We're going to scoop it out. See the difference between this side and scooping it out a little bit? It makes a world of difference. Sometimes just a few cuts can make such a contrast on stuff and make it better. And it adds a little more to your piece than just being squared off. Okay, and also scooping this out helps to shape it a little bit better. Alright. You and I both, Jack. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that border to open up. Then I'll have to make a trip up to Canada to see my family. High time. And once I get vaccinated, and I don't know when that's going to be, I'll be up there. Okay, let's see. What is that? Is that a knot? That's a little knot there in that foot, but that's okay. Alright, so now we have this pretty well shaped. We have the ears pretty well shaped. So the next thing we're going to work on is bringing this down a little bit more. This down a little bit more here. Alright. And we're going to trim a little more off. Well, actually, what we need to do before I... okay, we're going to put a line across because this is his front paws or feet, hoofs, whatever they're called. And I take my little V-tool and I go straight across, just like so. Alright, there we go. Hi, Justin, there you are. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of bring this down a little bit and kind of blend that in. Take that little corner out. Let me see, yeah, because I really have a little bit of a corner here, because this is going to be like his front legs and stuff right here. So let me just clean that up on either side, and then I'll show you a little cut that will make it look more like his front legs here. So you just want that to stick out a little bit. Alright. That's irritating me there. I don't know why, but it is. Alright. So now we have this scooped out a little bit. We have the feet cut out in the front of his legs here. Now right here, I had put, if you take a look, I put a little notch there to show that it's his knee there a little bit, you know, that it's his front leg. See how I have a little notch there? That's exactly what we want to do. So how I do it is usually with the V-tool. So I'm just going to go in here a little bit and just dig out a section, just like so. And then I'll enhance it a little bit with the knife, just to give me an idea. Alright? So, meanwhile, I will stick this in a little further on both sides, in the center. And then I'm going to just bring this in a little bit more. And that should give us a little bit of a... Okay, so there's this front little leg there. Alright, and the same thing over here. You just want it to stick out a little bit. Alright. Alright. Okay, let's go sideways a little bit here. Alright. Alright, see the two feet? There you go. That's what we're looking for. Now, we'll do the feet yet here. Now we're going to look at the back here for a second. Okay, there we go. The back has a tiny little tail. Alright, and we're going to put his feet in yet. So what you want to do is just take you can take a pencil and draw this over like so. On both sides, about maybe a quarter of an inch or so. And you're going to cut that out. You can do it with the V-tool if you want first. It's always easier with the V-tool, but either way. And you're just going to go up like so. Alright, just to have that foot kind of sticking out. And we're going to go down this way. Alright, and then we're going to do the other side the same way. Now, I know that these eyes are not exactly what they should be on this thing. It should be tiny, but I find that if you have big eyes on stuff, usually it looks a lot cuter. Big nose, big eyes. That's what I've always said. So what we're going to do here, we're going to just chop this in a little further. And we're going to just... Alright, here we're going to just bring that up a little bit. We're going to distinguish that a little bit more. And we're going to cut that out, just like so. And we're going to round that off a little bit. I'll clean this up more when I get offline. But that's how you do the foot. Alright, now we're going to do the other foot. And one person asked if I ever cut myself. Yes, and I just did so today because I didn't have my thumb guard on. This guy here, I was sharpening my tools and I thought, oh, I'm going to carve this thing for a second. Didn't have that on. So it's important to have your gloves on and your thumb guards on, especially if you're a beginner. Okay, that's really, really important. Try to get used to wearing them. Alright, so and I'll clean this up again a little bit later. Alright, so now the back side has a tail. So we'll worry about the face in a second here. The back side, let me get a swig of my hot chocolate because it's not hot anymore. It's probably lukewarm. Yep, lukewarm. Anyway, what I was going to say here is that the tail always kind of flips to the side and up. So I'm just going to draw a little, like a little thing here. You can round it a little bit at the top. And then I bring it down and around like so. Bring it down this way, and then it needs to come out either side. Alright, so this is a little thick, so let's bring this down a little bit more. Put this a little bit together here. So the first thing I do is I chop that out a little bit. Right there. And I chop this out over here. Here we go. And then I bring My little V-tool. I love this thing. I use it for all kinds of stuff. Gouges in this I use a lot lately. They're just so much handier. And then I'm going to, and when I do this, I can often turn the carving. I'm not turning my hands so much. So I'm turning the carving around. Okay, same thing here. Just go straight down. Then we'll clean it up with the knife. And make that a little bit deeper. Well, let's see if I can make that a little deeper with just the, because I can go a little bit deeper with that. So let's bring that up and around again. Just makes it a little easier for me, a little faster. All right. And also the other way. You know, if it doesn't turn out exactly as you think, just keep trying at it, you know. I actually tried the first Noah, and he looked like Darth Vader, whatever he is on, he looked like a Star Trek person. I thought, because I tried to put like a head of hair on him, and it's like, oh, forget that. So I have it a little bit different than that now. So it worked out good this afternoon, tonight. So it doesn't, I'm not always successful when I try something. Sometimes I have to do it twice, and that's okay. But it doesn't happen too often. I will say I can usually correct a problem or salvage it somehow if I made a mistake or it's not exactly what I think it should have been, you know. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting around that tail so it's sticking out a little bit more. All right, just like so. Let me take it back here for a second just to give me a little bit more clarity that I can see it without trying to. So, okay, hang on just a second. It's not frozen or anything. I'm just back here trying to clean this up. Okay, so I cut the edge off a little bit there, and we're going to just kind of take this down a little bit more. Let me see how we have that there. Okay, and I'm going to clean all this off because it's, if you don't take all this rough stuff off, I'll repeat it 100 times, and that it's going to look darker when you paint it. Now when I paint this thing, it's just regular gray, a dark gray, and the eyes are, and I put a little white on the feet just to give it some contrast, you know, light gray on the feet. And that's about it. You know, there's, and then the eyes are just a white, a blue, a black dot for the pupil, and a dot for the reflection. A white one, okay? So, keep going here. Okay, the back side's almost done. But let me take all this rough stuff off of here. Now, somebody asked what Rough Rider knives I use. There's several different ones. I have really old ones. I just bought a new one. I'm trying to revamp it in case you guys want one, but it took me a couple hours just to grind it down to where I wanted it. So let me work on that for a while. I might have it. It won't come real cheap because they're not cheap to get to start with. But I'll tell you what's not cheap lately is getting regular lumber at a lumber yard. I heard that's been horrible. I couldn't believe the prices, so I'm going to hold off on some stuff outside this year till those prices come down a little bit. But anyway, let me take a look back here and see what we have here. So that's all basically just rounded off, and I might have gone too deep there with his ear. Let me see if I can clean that up a little bit more. That's when I push the knife in too far. That's what happens. So, all right. So we have this pretty well where we want the ears to be. We have it pretty well where we want the feet to be. You know, this can go a little bit deeper underneath here. That just helps make it a little bit more contrast, you know. All right. So let's start with the feet here. We're going to just take this rough stuff off, as we always do. All right, just both sides, we're just going to take that off. The only thing I do with the feet, it's real simple. Back to the V-tool. Yes, the Rough Rider has a stainless steel of 440, and it's a lot tougher to sharpen it to the way you want it and to shape it. without burning it. So the one I actually use, these smaller ones were actually the R282 model. And I mean, this thing was much longer, but over the years, I keep sharpening it, and it gets a little smaller. And actually, if I have this one, the longest one I have now, and then I bought a new one, but I'm not too happy with the blade yet. I'm working on it. All right, I just bought this one, and it does cut. I mean, it will cut. That's not a problem. But it's how it takes the turns and how you can scoop things out. It's depends how thick the blade is, how smooth you have it on the top. There's all kinds of things to it. And I should really get a different machine to do it, but right now I'm not, I don't want to spend money on that right now. Maybe later on this year I can, until things perk up a little bit. But, okay, so that's done. So let's just round off the feet a little bit, just blend it in. And just kind of have them. I love Rough Rider. I got the Imperial. It was absolutely crappy. Excuse my expression, but it was. I could not get an edge on that. And I'm not bad at putting an edge on any knife, but that was almost impossible to get that sharp. The steel was absolutely horrible. So the stainless steel one works better. So let me go back over here and trim this off. Let me take the longer one. Sometimes the longer one's nice to take off the rough stuff. Okay, let's just bring this down a little bit. And we have a couple more things to do. And we'll be finished. Now here, to make this look a little bit longer than what it truly is, what I did was I went up a little bit like so. We're going to cut out a little piece here, okay? Now this one's a little shorter, so let me just bring this up just a tiny bit to start with. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the V tool again, and we're just going to do a little V cut there, and we'll blend it in. And we'll blend it in. So we're going to take this down here, and we're just going to go like so, and like so. All right. That's a little weird. Why did I do that? Okay, hang on. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this in. We're going to cut this down a little bit. All right, we're going to bring this down. Going to have it blend in together. It's a little off. Bring that up a little bit more. I'll straighten it out. You know, like I always said, it's hard to get both sides to look correct and evened out. But that's what you want. You want it to look like it's going underneath a little bit. And I'll work on this when I get offline a little bit more. Alright, so right down here, the end of his nose, we need to put a little bit of a thing on here like this. And I don't, oh jeez, I don't have that with me. Okay, what you can do is you can just do the outside of it with the V tool. And so you notice I just do one little piece at a time. I don't try to do the whole thing at once. It just gives me an idea where I have to go with it. Alright, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit towards the nose here. And my little, I don't know where my smaller little 3 millimeter gouge is at, because I would use that to clean the inside. But you can also just take the V tool and make a little hole here and then clean it up later on when I find that thing back. And yeah, I try to go all the way around and just clean that out. Now, I can't do that with the V tool as much, but you get the idea. Alright, so once you get that done, let me clean that up a little bit because that looks a little rough. There we go. There we go. Alright, so that's how that's done, okay? The nose. And let me take a look at this here. I'll clean that up a little bit more. I can even do that with a knife if I wanted to, because that sits on the ground anyway. So you can, there we go, there we go. All right, perfect. So, and if it doesn't look exactly right, you can trim this off a little bit more, make it a little bit more rounded. All right, now, okay, why is my, hang on just a second here, folks. I'm going to run out of power here, and I don't know why. Bear with me for a second. Hang on. Ah, I got power again. Okay. All right. So now we got everything done except for the feet and the eyes. So here's where we're going to take the V tool again, and we're going to do a little bit of a couple of V cuts up here. So all it is 1, 2, 3. If you want to do 4 or 5, it's fine. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. And I'll do the same thing over here. And then I also do the front of the first of the paws up front, so, or his feet at the front. I just put a couple in. All right. Now, the other thing I noticed I did on here is I had this go in a little bit in the center. You know, his face wasn't exactly round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife, and I'm just going to cut on either side where the ears are, and I'm going to start just scooping this out a little bit, just to give the head a little more shape. Okay, you can see where it's starting to go in. And the same thing over here. Let me get my other knife here. This, I like how this one. Okay, so you see it's going in a little bit. That's what I want. You know, those little things can add to a piece. It really can. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. Just like so. All right. So this looks like it's going in a little bit, and that one looks like it's going in a tiny bit. It doesn't take much to do that. If you try to do it from the onstart, sometimes from the get-go, it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. All right. Now the eyes. This is the most important part for me. I like the big eyes. So the first thing I do is I kind of draw the first line on the top, and I have it coming down. And if this was a top, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do another line. Now I'm going to look at that and see if, you know, I'm going to adjust it a few times, because it doesn't always go exactly as you think from one side to the next. Then I'm going to bring this over a little bit more, and then I'm going to just do a nice big eye. A nice big eye. Okay. And this one doesn't look right, so it probably has to cut off right about there. Okay, so let's give it a try here. Let me take this back here. The first cut that I do with all the eyes on all the animals, it's all the same, is I cut this one off first. I just cut it, and I undercut it, just like so. You can see where the eye is already going to go. Okay, you can see it already. And same thing over here. I think his eyes are really close together, so we can bring that a little bit closer together too. So, just scoop it out. I'm going to go up a little higher at the top here, and I'm going to scoop it out again. get them a little closer together. Just like so. Alright. Now, to me, that still doesn't look straight, but it's close enough. Yeah, it's very, like I said, when you're trying to duplicate something from one side to the other, it's not always simple. And sometimes you have to readjust it a few times. Whoops, sorry. I don't lose the camera here. Hang on just a second. Alright. Next thing I do is I go back and... Okay, what's going on here? There we go. Oh, shoot. Alright, time for more hot chocolate, I think. Alright, I've had a few mishaps. It's hard not to when you're live like this. So, again, we're going to take that from... You're not going to go all the way to the top. You're not going to go all the way to the bottom. Just like so. Alright? Same thing here. A little bit at the bottom, top. Not all the way to the top. And you're going to bring that down. And you're just going to... Well, that eye is really off, so... But I keep fussing with it. Let me look at it back here. I can get a better idea. Okay, well, I'm going to start cut. So the first thing I do is I cut up to the top on both sides. And then I make my little circle. And again, I pretty well move my carving when I do this instead of my hand. Alright, there's one. Now, to get the other one to look similar, so let's just do it. Just do it. Okay? And here, I'm going to put a little thing there, and we're going to just match those two together. If it doesn't look right, I'll redo it a little bit, but, you know, you have to be really careful. That's pretty close. Let me just do it back here. I have a better... Alright, so there's the eyes, but the eyes aren't done yet. So what you want to do is you want to take your knife and you're going to follow that line. You're going to follow it around with the tip of the knife here. You're going to make it a little bit deeper. And you're going to go from the inside and you're going to clean that out first. You're going to take that little triangular cut at the top and just like so. Hello, Mary. So, the same thing over here, and then you go from the bottom, and you just kind of scoop that out a little bit more. Let me get another knife. That one's starting to... Here we go. Perfect. So that's what you want. You want a nice round eye. Yeah, I mean the edges, not actually round. So we're going to do the same thing over here. And we're going to cut this out. And round this off a little bit. It's a little deeper than I wanted, but usually I have this thing right in my face when I'm doing it, so it's a little more difficult for me to get it exactly the way I want in front of the camera. But once I figure out how to make those canvas, those special aprons, I'll let you know. I wasn't thinking of doing a monkey or the other. I haven't decided on that yet. I'm trying to not add so many animals that the cost of the cutouts would be too much, because you need 2 of everything, right? So that has me a little wondering how many pieces to do. I was thinking up to 10. So, alright, so let's see here. Alright, so there is, well, that needs to be cleaned up, but that's pretty well how we, this is how we do it, and that's how he looks. And when you paint him up, he should be looking to the side or up. That's usually how I do it. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. I will see if I can get the hippopotamus for next week. I think I never did one until this week, and I did it from memory, and then I went to some pictures. So I've got to figure out how to paint him yet. The zebra is done, the lion is done, and Noah's done. So I'll post it as soon as the painting part is done. I might work on some of that this evening yet, but this will be on YouTube in about an hour or so. It won't take that long to post it. And again, let me know your thoughts about the summertime and what you'd like to, if you'd like to continue with some Santas or something, because I know you can't wait until November to do things, or even October to do things for Christmas. Some people need a lot more time to get things done. All right, folks, thanks a lot for joining me here in the Carver's Woodshop and for supporting me here. All right, and you know, if you need anything, just go to my shop. You know where to find me on the Carver's Woodshop store. I have everything. You just type in www.carverswoodshop.store and it will bring you to that. All right, take care, and we'll be in touch. Bye-bye.